Okay, so when I count down from 5 and get to 0, I'm going to start filming, okay? 5, 4, 3.
Why were you silent on 3, 2, 1?
You're just supposed to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not supposed to count along.
Right. Let's try again.
Okay. 5, 4. No, see, you're still doing it with your head. You're bopping your head. You're not supposed to do that.
All right.
Just don't count at all, okay?
Okay.
5, 4. And we're rolling.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to undo the fuel line. Now, I don't know if it's 1/4 inch or 5/16. I've heard that it's 5/16. So I got some fuel hose, a couple feet of each. And when this comes off, it's going to spill gas everywhere. That hose clamp is a 1/4 inch. So I got my 1/4 inch nut driver here. It's probably going to make a gas mess a bit. So I'm going to get this off. And yeah, this is going to be a bit tight, I think. That hose is going to be kind of stubborn, which I should have known. Or maybe not, actually. But yeah, whatever's in the carburetor is definitely going to spill, so. Yeah, a little bit, not much. Definitely looks like 5/16. So, I am not terribly prepared. So I should have a bolt on me to plug that line. But I'm going to use my 1/4 inch nut driver and just shove that in there. I just don't want gas everywhere because today we are going to be doing some spark making. So I'm pretty sure that's 5/16. Just going to put this on here. No, that's 1/4 inch maybe. 5/16 is too loose. Don't necessarily want to have to use a hose clamp. So there we go. I just want to drain the fuel tanks into this jerry can. And yeah, we'll just turn the petcock on to reserve. I'll open up the top here, get some airflow. How's that draining? Yes, it is. Perfect. And yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that. That's a bit wet, but it's not actually leaking. I'm glad I grabbed a 1/4 inch hose too, because 5/16 I would have had to put a hose clamp on there, and that's just going to be too much extra messing around for what I want to do right now. Now while that's draining, I'm just going to rotate this. I don't have to hold the hose, that doesn't matter. I'll undo my battery and take it out too. So, now this is actually the wrong battery for this bike, but with what I'm doing to my bike, I think this is going to work out better. This is a 20 series AGM battery, absorbed glass mat. They're like one of the best batteries you can get from where I work, from Napa. And that's what it looks like, multi-sport AGM. Now this bike should actually have a 16, an ETX 16. This is an ETX 20L. The L means that the posts are on this side and not this side. So they should be over here. Now when I put this battery in, I had to actually move my ground bolt from, where the heck was it before? It was further back. I don't remember. Maybe it was down here. I can't remember where it was, but I had to just move it forward a bit. Maybe I had to rotate it. It was angled back, and I had to loosen that and just rotate it so it would actually reach, because before it was here. So yeah, the other batteries, like the posts are actually reversed. Just the regular ETX 20 would have the positive here and the negative here. But I didn't know. This is the only 20 series we had on the shelf, so I grabbed it. And that was when my voltage regulator went and killed my battery. Now this battery is rated at 310 cold cranking amps. The 16 series, I think, is rated at 325. But when I put our load tester on this at my work, it actually registered 465 cold cranking amps. So it's plenty of power for this bike. And absorbed glass mat, AGM. That means it is not acid filled, so you can like put it like that. You can tip it over, you can spin it around, you can flip your bike right over in a circle and your battery won't leak out. But yeah, I just don't want it in there. But the reason why I think it's going to work better for what I'm doing is having the posts up here instead of back here. That means when I get the seat, my sister, Red Rider, is going to donate me the seat that they were going to use on the shovel head build. And when she sends me that seat, I'm going to put it on here. And having the posts up here means that I can get my seat lower than if the posts were back here. I don't have to worry about it shorting out or anything. So anyway, I just want to get the battery out of there for now. Because today I want to cut these struts off and start working on that. I don't have money right now for the rear fender that I need. I need a very specific fender. They used them on the 55 to 57 panheads, and they're like about $300 Canadian. Whatever that is in US, I think our dollar's like 68 cents to your guys' dollar right now. But yep, so I figured I'd do the stuff that I can do for free, and it's going to be way easier putting a fender on with these out of the way. So we'll see when that happens. Okay, so I'm just going to look at the fuel level here, and looks like we're fairly low. Actually, looks pretty dry. Wow. All right, that's good. Now I know that, like, technically for making sparks, like we're gonna be doing, gas fumes are a lot more dangerous than liquid, like having full tanks or whatever. But I don't know. I'm gonna cover up this thing pretty darn good. I'm gonna put all the hose back onto the petcock, and this thing's still draining. So, despite looking empty, but I think that's probably empty enough. So, and if you guys noticed, when I undid this, it was actually kind of dripping out of here. So, like, I mean, these petcocks aren't going to be perfect, right? So, everyone says you should store your bike full of gas for the winter. Mine is in a heated shop. Like, the thing is, with the temperature swing from, going below freezing to above freezing, you get condensation. It pulls moisture inside of everything, and that moisture will rust out the inside of your tank. And thankfully, these tanks are in really good shape inside. So I want to keep them that way. So I probably will store it like full when I park it. I don't know how much difference that's going to make in a heated garage for the winter, but I don't want gas just running through the carbs slowly into my crankcase. So I don't know. Like, I might store it empty. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out, I guess. where's that socket actually? Right here. I want to be prepared. Kind of boring stuff, but I kind of don't like it when people make videos and they skip a bunch of the actual work that they're doing, because it's nice to see how other people do things, and also it's really good to be able to tell like how long it takes to do stuff. Even little things like this that take 30 seconds, it all adds up to if your day isn't planned out very well. All these little things that you don't factor in are going to make it so that you're behind your deadline. Like when I switched my timing module, my ignition module, a couple weeks ago, I started that job too late in the day. It was a beautiful day. It was like probably, I think it was 7 or 8 Celsius outside, like, which is just, about 5 or 6 degrees above freezing in Fahrenheit, whatever that is. It was a nice sunny day. I definitely could have ridden this thing a bit, and by the time I got the ignition module replaced, I had to have it in here for light because it was dark out. And then I took it for a ride, and it was 3 degrees below freezing. I think that's like maybe like 30 degrees Fahrenheit. And it was freezing. Like my fingers almost got frostbite. They felt like they did anyway. Maybe I'm just a baby. But that kind of job, like I hadn't done it before, and I just wasn't factoring in how tedious and time consuming all the little things would be, like messing around with the wire connectors and undoing the old weather pack connector and just shrink tubing everything. And so I should have, like, some jobs you want to just factor in like an extra hour or two of nonsense that you're going to run into. There was one bolt over there on my timing cover that was really hard to get to without taking the exhaust off, which I didn't want to do that, just to replace the module. So yeah, just little stuff like this. That's why I try to film all the little things too. All right, might as well take off these rear foot pegs. That is a 3/4 inch wrench, and you can't really get I'm tightening it. What's just happening? Can't really get a socket in there because it is too tight on the swing arm right there. I think there's probably a way. Maybe if you had weight on the bike, it would swing the arm away just enough. I don't know, but it's not that important. So I had to get shorter bolts from my work because the bolts that were in here were very long, and there were some spacers that came out to here because the person who owned this bike before me, she had the toolboxes on here, the triangle shaped panhead, knucklehead toolboxes, and they sat right about here on each side. I might put one back on because they're very handy to have. I have some tools in this little bag here, and you can't really fit enough in there sometimes for a Harley, especially if you have an older bike that needs the carb tuned sometimes. And I like to keep a couple of spare signal brake light bulbs in there because I don't want some idiot hitting me from behind because I don't have a tail light all of a sudden, or I don't want to get pulled over and ticketed because one of my lights is out. So there's a lot of cops where I live, and they're just looking for an excuse to pull you over and give you a ticket for $200 for some stupid thing like that. So long story short, that's why I like to have tools on me, and I'll have to decide when I'm kind of getting close to the end of this project if I have enough room for toolboxes and how that's going to look. Because basically, like, I'm one of these people that isn't smart enough for practicality. I like things to look cool, and I don't care if they're a little less comfortable or don't make enough sense. I don't want to eliminate my lights though. That's one thing I'm going to keep, because like I say, there's a lot of drivers that just don't see you even if you're all lit up, and I like people to be able to see me because I don't want to end up a hood ornament on some guy's SUV. Another thing I'm going to do right now is rotate this out of the way, or maybe just take it off altogether. It's going to be in the way. This is what happens when you just keep buying tools and never actually checking to see how much you have. I have probably half this amount of wrenches again elsewhere that I just don't need in here. My dad would hang his head in shame probably if he saw that, which I'm sure he will see it. But I think that's a 9/16. Maybe not. Maybe it's good that I have so many wrenches, because I think some of these are sort of not great. Half inch, where the heck are they here? Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to kind of go through this stuff again at some point and make more room, because this is kind of silly, having like everything and nothing at the same time. Everything you need and nothing you need. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Sometimes it's easier to have parts not strewn all over the place and taken off if you can leave stuff. And someone straightened this wrench. That's kind of custom, kind of annoying too, because what the heck. But it's easier sometimes to not have things taken apart and all over your shop and having to label every little piece and remember where it comes from. I like to be able to keep stuff together. If you can put fasteners back in places that they come out of, not only do you not lose them or lose track of where they went, but you also, like for this example, that's a threaded hole. And so if I take this bolt out and it's gone, and then like I'm welding here, like I plan on welding these divots full so I can contour all this and make it look stock. But for example, if I leave this hole, this bolt out of the hole, then there's a good chance that I'm going to get sparks in there when I'm welding, and those sparks or slag can really mess up threads on things. You'll get, because it'll actually burn into the metal just enough that you can't get it out. And then you have to run a tap through the hole and like clean the threads out, and it's just too much. Same with these holes here. When I do the welding, I might put bolts in these. I'll just grab some junk bolts that fit and I'll thread them in so I don't get weld in those holes, because I'm not going to fill these holes. I'm going to leave them there so I can actually utilize them later if I need to. And yeah, I just don't want to work myself into a corner later on. I'd rather, you know, if I decide one day I totally don't need these anymore, at that point I can fill them with weld and just refinish it. But we'll see when that time comes. All right, now I'm just getting ready to choppy chop, which is kind of exciting, kind of scary at the same time. I think I just need to take my time and sort of math this out. One thing I'm noticing here with the angles we have going on is the backbone tubes are actually curved, kind of like this, sort of like in a gentle arc. This forged plate here, that's the swing arm pivot thing, is a tiny bit higher, like looking. Yeah, it's a little bit higher, I think, but I think I'm just going to follow that line there, the top edge of that plate. And basically, I need to take my time and mark this out properly, because I have two lines I need to go off. This is one of them. This is one line I'm going to do. You guys will see how I'm going to do this exactly. So basically, I'm going to cut from here. As I mentioned before, I don't want to cut that angle piece. Like, it's real ugly looking, but it is very important for the structure of the frame. So I don't want to mess with that too much. So I'm going to cut from here to whatever line, when I line this up straight, whatever line that ends up right about there somewhere. So that's going to be an angle cut like that. That'll be my initial cut that I got to make. And then you guys will see how I finish the rest of this. Most guys that do this kind of mod on their Softail, they do kind of a real basic job. You could say they just hack that off at an angle. Some guys don't even clean up their edges, it looks like. Some of them don't even paint the surface after. They kind of just leave it. I think they get too excited by having these struts off, and they just want to mount their fender, and as soon as their fender's on and their lights are working and everything, they want to hop on and ride. And I mean, by looking at how filthy my bike is, you can tell that as soon as I had it on the road and had my license, all I did with it was ride it. And if something went wrong with it, I would fix it as quick as I could and keep riding the thing. And this is why a lot of Harley guys have bikes that are tie wired together, and zip ties and duct tape and tie wire, and bolts that are rounded off and stripped out. And because when you have a bike and you're on the road, you want to keep it that way, and you don't want too much downtime. But yeah, so this is the next step, is chopping that off. I have my my Sawzall. Now, you guys in the States are probably wondering why every Canadian video you see has got Mastercraft tools. It's because our store, a huge chain up here, Canadian Tire, that's their tool brand. They make almost everything. Their warranties are really amazing. Like, if you break a ratchet or socket or something like that, you walk into the store, you hand it to them, they give you a new one. If it says Mastercraft on it, their electric tools like this, I think, usually have a 3-year warranty, which they're pretty good. You just have to keep your receipt for those, right? But the tools, the hard tools, like, you bring them in anytime. Doesn't matter if you bought the thing 40 years ago, they'll hand you a replacement for free. No questions asked. But the other thing about Canadian Tire and Mastercraft is they'll have a few sales through the year where they'll blow something like this out for like 75% off. And so I think when I bought this one, it was like 40 bucks Canadian, and regular it was like 150 or something like that. So that's like totally cheap. And they're much better quality than tools you get at Princess Auto, which is the Canadian version of Harbor Freight. So that's why you see Mastercraft tools. My sister, Red Rider, her videos, she always has her Mastercraft stuff kicking around. And like I say, people in the States are probably like, what the heck? What the heck is that? Sometimes we joke and call it Master Crap. But yeah, so that's the deal with those.